jokes weren't there.
It doesn't.
Yes,
It doesn't.
it does.
What?
Her way of acting out has always been modesty. I don't want to see anything too low, and nor do I want to see anything too high.
Boobs and a midriff. That's ridiculous. How dare she?
I think she thinks
I
that
don't want
2
to see.
feet is all it needs to be.
Oh, come on,
Oh,
but it should be 5 feet, okay?
I hate the double standard so much. I can never respect this attitude towards a child around her family.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Gwendlyn Brown called out her mom, Robyn, and Meri for the way that they handled modesty on the show back in season 2, and the way that they handled a situation with her daughter, with her older sister, Mykelti. Gwendlyn did not mince words about her feelings about what her mom and her former sister wives were doing to Mykelti and how they were making the girls feel like what they were doing was wrong because they wanted to wear tank tops in Vegas. Gwendlyn even went on in her video that is on her YouTube channel saying that she has lost some respect for her mother. In the same video, Gwendlyn also had some very choice words for Robyn Brown and for Robyn constantly rubbing it in Meri's face that she couldn't have any more children. I have had a lot of you in my comments make comments about how Robyn had this weird thing about reminding Meri that she only had one kid. And some of you even felt that maybe the surrogate storyline could have been something that Robyn could have used manipulating of Meri, like a manipulative tactic of Robyn to use against Meri to continue to make her feel bad about the fact that she couldn't have more than one child. Meri's infertility was a massive storyline, and if you know anything about the polygamist cults, women in these groups are bred from the time they are born, they are raised, indoctrinated, and bred to become plural wives, and their only goal as a plural wife is to have as many kids as possible and to be a wife for their husband and to basically just be like collateral for a dad to trade for another wife or for them to be chattel. With so much of their identities tied around motherhood, a lot of people have noticed that Robyn's continued reminding of Meri was really insensitive, and the fact that they made a storyline into her infertility, despite the fact that Meri herself was in her late 30s and had said repeatedly that she didn't want to have any more kids. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you've not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Click on the bell so you can get notified of any time I go live or new content loads. And if you have something to say, please say it by leaving a comment. And as always, share this video with your friends. Gwendlyn Brown's YouTube can be hit or miss in terms of what you'll find on there. Some of the videos, I think you'll get a lot of nuggets and reactions to the reality of what's going on behind the scenes. And other times you'll get more like confusion, or you might just be sort of burnt out on listening to her to react to her family's fake television show. Now, in this episode, she was looking at the last episode of season 2 as they just moved from Utah to Vegas, and they were getting like in the vacation homes. Having moved from Utah to Vegas, it's a much different climate. They're preparing for school, and it's a lot hotter. And immediately, they started going after Mykelti for wearing a tank top.
Mykelti, go find a different shirt. I don't want to see that much of your body.
I get mad at my parents sometimes, so I'll like wear whatever I want even though I know they're gonna get mad about it.
It's called bodily autonomy.
There's definitely different attire worn by people in Vegas than Salt Lake.
Because it's hot. Salt Lake is not as hot.
Now that we're in Vegas, we are actually concerned about the influences on our children.
You guys, their slutty legs.
choices, basically.
You can see her entire bare shoulders. Horrifying.
I like the way I look, and I would like people to like the way I look too.
And she should.
They don't realize that when they have certain things showing, that is like a huge message to boys out there.
Teach boys not to be freaking perverts then.
Watching Gwendlyn react to this actually is kind of how I reacted to it, and every time I watch it is how I react to it, because TLC loves to shame women on their shows. I don't know, they love to be misogynistic, and men's attire is literally never discussed. They don't ever discuss about what the boys are wearing or how the boys are sending messages or what the boys are doing. It's always the girls. It's always the girls' fault. Think about the messages they're sending to their daughters, that if you wear a tank top and a guy wants to have, you know, does something to you because of that tank top, it's your fault. You're sending a message to this boy that you want something, and so therefore if it happens to you, it's your fault. And they have no body autonomy. They are manhandling these poor girls and acting like these girls are like theirs to touch, theirs to, you know, degrade, theirs to shame. And having grown up in my own life and having a parent that did this to me, I can totally empathize with these girls, because it is not your fault that you grew up and developed. And I liked that Gwendlyn said that, like, maybe we need to teach boys not to be Peeverts.
Maybe then it won't be a problem. If you don't teach boys that they're allowed to stare at women inappropriately. Horrifying by all of them. Let children be children. She just wants to have a body.
Beautiful girls.
God, I just lost so much respect for all of them. God damn it. I did notice, I don't think Janelle said anything about it. I appreciate that.
She said, I just lost a little bit of respect for them. All of them after that. Except she said, I don't think Janelle said anything about it. All of these women at this time were wearing garments that they had to wear because they were in a polygamous cult. And so they had to have, like, from their neck to their feet covered, and to their ankles and to their wrists. And so modesty is like this huge thing in their culture and their cult. But to do this on such a public platform, like, it's one thing to have conversations like this behind closed doors, which are still not appropriate, by the way. Unless your child is literally going to run out the door without any clothes on, it's not appropriate to shame them for wearing a tank top. The amount of just embarrassment they put their daughters through on this show is just really sad to me. And I've said this repeatedly, that even though Christine has left this group now, and now that she's wearing clothes that are much less modest, I wonder if she's gone back and had conversations with her girls and apologized for some of these teachings that she helped reinforce in her home about their clothing, because now Christine is breaking the rules and wearing whatever she wants. I wonder if Christine and any of these women have guilt about the way that they reinforced these ridiculous standards into their girls and made them feel bad. Or I wonder if they've even had a chance to think about that. And maybe they'll have a chance to see this video by Gwendlyn and hear it. And maybe Gwendlyn will actually have a conversation with her parents about this after the fact. I don't know. But at least she said something now. So I'm glad to hear one of the kids say something.
You know, just the fact that I have less kids
Doesn't make me less.
I don't deserve as many perks in the family.
I don't think any of us feel that way at all. It's something I think that Meri feels a lack in her life.
It's not her fault. You aren't worth your children and what you can provide out of your womb to a family.
And I realized I was being a jerk.
Meri's infertility was weaponized so many different ways on the show like this, where she would want to find a house, but then, you know, they would want her to take a smaller house, or Cody would make her feel like she didn't need to have as large of a house. But honestly, when they were making that kind of money and they had that kind of income and wealth, why couldn't they all have the same size house? Who cares if she only had one home? And Meri always used her homes to have people over, to have events, and to use it as like a gathering spot. When she had her larger house in Flagstaff, it was the exact same thing. Now, obviously, she's no longer with the family, but it's like throughout the show, you start to realize just how much her infertility was weaponized. And people on the show that watched would feel like Meri was using it as a like sympathy card, but honestly, they're the ones that are constantly reminding her that she only has one kid. And because her value to them is literally only worth the amount of kids she has, because in that cult, that's all that matters, is that a woman's job is to bring spirit babies down. So constantly reminding Meri of that is just another way to sort of emotionally abuse her on the show. So as Gwendlyn was saying, like, she's worth more than just what her womb created. And in fairness, some of the wives weren't as horrible to her as Robyn. Just wait.
So this is your wife? No.
Oh, dude. Oh, I'm so sorry, man.
Las Vegas was my first exposure to people of color, especially black people. So it was like a little bit of a culture shock to be there.
One of our neighbors has a stepdaughter that I assumed that they were married. Usually that's what people say to a polygamous 14-year-old wife. Sorry.
That was
The
so
biggest-
embarrassing.
That was so funny. And not to brag, but I never had the Mormon belief that like people of color were lesser. So I handled it pretty well as a non-racist. That was amazing.
It's Las Vegas. They have a very different culture here. And when I moved into this neighborhood, I made myself not judge a single one of my neighbors.
I feel like they're talking about the fact that their neighbors are people of color, and that's why she's saying not judge. Because there's nothing to be judged about these people, except for the Mormon belief that people of color are lesser. And so part of me is like, just say you have a little bit of racism in you, you know?
I wanted to throw that part in about Robyn making the statement about how she made the decision not to judge people. And then while she was saying that, TLC panned to video of their neighbors who happen to be people of color. And Gwendlyn pointing out that the only reason they would be judging them is because they're people of color. And that's because of what they grew up believing and how they had beliefs that they were better than people of color based on a doctrine within their faith that says that people of color are cursed, they are marked by Satan, and they are, wicked people according to their beliefs. That's the beliefs of the AUB. And it started in the Mormon church, the LDS, and then they got rid of that in the late 1970s. But that's still something that the AUB adheres to this day. And many of the Browns continue to believe this. If they still believe in this faith, they still hold the belief that they are better than people of color because they believe that they are wicked, and it's horrible. And so Gwendlyn's showing you in proof how they would act and how it was covered up. People don't like to believe that this is a true part of their belief system, but it is. But let's get back to the situation between Meri and Robyn. So she's calling out Robyn's racism here, and then she's gonna speak more about Robyn and the infertility with Meri.
We've been married a while. It's about time we had kids.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
God, they're so awkward.
We've been keeping it a secret.
Just the two of us. It's just a secret between the two of us right now. And I've been sort of...
It's a fun secret to have.
It's not really a relationship when they keep doing this. It's like it's just the two of them, and they're not including the rest of the parents like at all.
I'm worried about Meri taking it hard.
I don't know if it's just me that's got an issue with that, but it doesn't seem like they're all in a relationship. It just seems like it's Cody and Robyn, and then the rest of his, mistresses.
She's always wanted to have more children. Her body won't let her have more.
God, stop talking about the fact that Meri can't have kids. I'm sure it doesn't make her feel great that we always say this.
My plan is to actually go over to her house,
Or she's lacking as a woman.
reinforce the announcement with love and understanding.
Throughout the years, this is exactly what Robyn did. She would speak about Meri's infertility like it was her business to speak about. She would remind people that Meri can't have any more children. When she got pregnant, she would tell Meri first because, it's so hard on Meri that she can't have kids. So you have to remind Meri that you're pregnant and rub it in her face. And then after she gives birth to Solomon, she pours more salt in the womb. And so she not only gives birth to Solomon, but then says to Meri, I just gave birth, but I'd like to be your surrogate. Again, at the birth of Solomon, reminding Meri that she's infertile and unable to get pregnant on her own. But Robyn is reminding her that she can get pregnant, and she's offering her this wonderful gift. But really, it's a manipulation tactic of Robyn showing off her fertility and gloating about it in a way to Cody, because in this culture, all women are good for is to have babies and to be wives. That's all. Literally, that is all they are good for. That's all they want the women to do, and that's all that they need. So I'm just glad that Gwendlyn finally said something, because they talk about her body and Meri's journey as though it's hers to talk about. And I realize that I'm talking about Meri's journey, but I just think it's really in poor taste to constantly use that as a weapon against Meri, whether it's for her housing, whether it's for what she wants in a home, whether it's how much her rent costs, whether it's you're going to be a surrogate. Robyn and Cody were consistently using ways to make Meri feel bad about her infertility. And Gwendlyn also called out her parents, Christine, Meri, and Robyn, for their lack of tact when it came to modesty and shaming the kids, shaming their daughters about modesty, and said she can't respect them or she lost some respect for them. And then also pointing out the racism of Robyn. So this is a good understanding of sort of what some of the kids are feeling. And then you just magnify that and put that on TV and then imagine how they feel. I don't blame a lot of the older kids for not wanting to be on the show, especially since the parents made all this money doing this and none of the kids made a dime. They have nothing to show for it except for the fact that their entire lives are public consumption because the show is still on the air. So at least Gwendlyn can make a few bucks doing this on her YouTube channel. So what are your thoughts about this? Do you agree with Gwendlyn? Tell me in the comments below. Bye guys.